Hello everyone and welcome. I have returned from Germany and as you can see, part of me is in the light and the other part of me is in the dark. That's because the sun is currently only half there and so am I. I arrived a couple hours ago and I am not here on Wednesday, so I will not be here upcoming Monday. Or the other way around. I will not be here on Wednesday, so I'm gonna be here right now. That's what I meant. Happy affiliate anniversary! Thank you. Yeah, I know you're being forced to type that or to actually put that in. Dominic, Josh, hello. I talked to Dominic just now. Josh, how have you been this weekend? How did Cobblemon go? Let's see. We are going to continue our playthrough of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and we left on a cliffhanger note, and people got angry. But on the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, he was already deceased. I need to get back into the groove of all the accents and stuff. So, no man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. Apart from in one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting... Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Already? Dead? Why didn't she flinch? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's stable that day, the professor was already dead. Oof. That's madness. Order. Order, please. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student. Yeah, you fucked up about 4 times by now. Do you really think that a 5th time won't happen? Objection! No, Prosecutor Archie. It's you who has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it is highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your lunch on engagement. But, Your Excellency, the justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I'm prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. Something tells me it's not even a woman. I had the same notion about a week ago. What was that smell? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. Miss Brett? You speak Japanese? Well... Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? I'm gonna examine the living shit out of it. How do we know? Personal student number is engraved on the back here, and if you lose your pin, they won't accept you as a human student. You may not come in, they say. Oh, great. Of course, you can get a new pin if you can tell them your number. I've actually lost mine twice already, but I still don't know my student number by heart. I always say to myself, I mustn't forget to write it down somewhere. But then I forget not to forget it. That sounds like me in a nutshell. The symbol of Yuma University. Every student wears that pin with pride. It's funny, but most emblems seem to be either round or rectangular. I feel this spike design, even though it doesn't really make any sense. Lots of students end up cutting their fingers on their badges. Perhaps it was the idea of the founders. How do we prove? Why have you been speaker through an interpreter until now? My mother... Oh, wait, I was just... Oh, for fuck's sake. I just misclicked, I guess. Did I? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall not lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Oh, well. You are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So we're finally going to hear our own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryu. Oh, here we go again. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man was burned on his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. But there was only one glass. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please, do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history, thank you. Easy does it. I hope that is the last time I'll have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Wow! I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady, and it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I'll be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Huh? Thanks? Well, was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. Surely I don't need to remind your counsel that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling out the case immediately. Is that clear? I haven't seen him do that before. Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. Let's see. The victim's death. Yeah, so my first issue here is what I see right now without any further ado is when a waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses. If we take a look at one of the photos, which I cannot do right now, unfortunately. If we take a look at one of the photos, there was only one glass on the table, so how can they toast our glasses? And if they did toast their glasses, where did the other glasses went? Go. We're gonna press.
Yes.
But this hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You cannot have noticed. You think so? Let me ask you something. Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You cannot have noticed, can you? Huh? What? You hadn't realized. The dear lady is absolutely right. You've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryu. Because his fly is open. Oh my god. Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brain imagine such a thing? Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can. Well, I can't. Anyway. Oh. What do I say? Well, there's nothing here. I'm gonna press this. As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at that time, if you remember. Which explains why you ordered that drink, correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, although... Whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table... I'm afraid I don't remember that. Damn you. I have enough English to understand that, at least. For the benefit of all the others in the court, it means bless you. Well, I don't think that's what it says. I think it means the exact opposite, exactly. Anyway. As far as I've heard, the postmortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
Didn't it? Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burned his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point. And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot from the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time. I concur, Prosecutor Archie is right. Okay. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving, please show me.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot or strangled or stabbed or thrown from a height. However a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Osanaga? As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If heaven forbid you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls flat. Poison! He's poisoned, then. We'll cut you down with I cast such aspersions. A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Techniques probably won't... I won't pick it up anyway. Let's press around this one as well. Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at crime scenes for a later examination. But in this country, you investigate once. And that's the end of it, isn't that so? Holy fucking balling. Yes, I'm objecting the living shit out of it. Quite right. The carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. Oh! That's why he's bleeding. Toxin. He got it somehow. You know, he inhaled it or he touched it. There's a toxin somewhere. It doesn't even occur to your native detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this thing as I can, you understand. A killer blow. The lady is as formidable as she's beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Arch is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. What do you think, Ryu? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clues whether to help her. Kazuma. What? There's one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her. Inspector Hosonaga. The detective. Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If I might present an opening, maybe. If it might present an opening. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then, I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once I press Miss Bright on her last statement again. Wait, so if I keep pressing them, eventually there's just more stuff coming up? Oh.
Yes.
I'm gonna autoplay this because we've already been here and we've already done that.
Wait.
Which means that even if the investigator... There it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right, look at him, he's lost in his own thoughts. I think he's bleeding from the fucking mouth. It's time to pursue the man in his train of thought. Pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryu. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? At the moment we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right, you can turn your attention to other people on the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with A. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so if I should move the marker blah blah blah, then pursue with A. Okay.
Wait. Excuse me.
Excuse me. What's the meaning of this? I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts, deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Well, that's the thing. We humans, we all think. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say? If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court. What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful English woman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately. Is that how it works? Absolutely not. Hmm? The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact that he is intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes, if you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in the UK. Which is why I, Satoru Osunaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. I'm preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. You probably took something called cyanide or something. Crime scene thief. Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touch a nerve there. Take this, for example. Oh shit, I put the poison in there! This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water, I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle, I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept a glass bottle of water as evidence. The carbonated water bottle has been entered into the court records. Miss Brett. Can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control this further. When I'm waiting, brought my steak, Professor, and I raised a glass in toast. The postmortem report should know.
Yes.
Luckily for... Okay.
Objection!
We've already done this. We need to figure out... There's toxin in the bottle. He's silent. It's toxin. I just need to find the correct place to press.
Yes. Excuse me.
Something funny. I don't think you need to push it, Ryu. Give him some time. Okay.
Yes.
What's... There was this other moment where the woman actually did something different.
Yes. Objection.
Hmm.
Yes.
Oh, I know exactly how you did it. I know exactly how you did it. Well, the thing is that there was poison in the bottle. I don't know if she did it specifically, but I do know that there's poison in the bottle. Something about the bottle. I don't think he drank from it himself, or he could have. It's all depending on the type of toxin that's being used. If it's a toxin that irritates the skin, for example. Hmm. Oh, could have just clicked A. Okay. Excellent work, Ryu, and never even thought of pursuing another witness over the current witness statements. That was a great idea of yours, Kazuma. Well, it was all thanks to you noticing that the detective had reacted strangely to what the lady said. I'd never have guessed he had all that bubbling away on the surface. To be honest, you keep surprising me at every turn. Sorry? Oh, never mind. So we know that Dr. Wilson was killed around the time the stake was brought to the stable, and by some means it left no physical trace on his body. If we could just demonstrate how it was done. Well, I do have one idea about that, about how the professor was killed. Maybe I should just present the evidence to see what happens. No, I don't think that's how it works. What if there's some other way... Well, because what I could do is present right here and then throw the bottle in her face. Anything out of place? Labels written in foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was thinking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. It's like the Dr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little left in the bottle. Although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. I just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Ryu, you can't do that. For one thing that's evidence, you can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryu. In more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? It's gone quiet all of a sudden. Toxin! Been telling you that. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. We're gonna present this. What is this? The bottle of water? The bottle of water. Actually, there is one method. There's one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison. On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? So the gunshot was to deceive everybody into thinking, oh, he died from poison. Okay. And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Giselle Brett, it was you.
Objection!
This is outrageous to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile, so woo. Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we only just signed an accords of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. If I may, I will silence you forever for this. Oh, shut up. Okay, here we go. It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady. Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring? I describe the police force as inferior, but no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigate this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector. And whether it contained poison or not. No. Of course. Is he lying? You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And? What did you find, Inspector? I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in a bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. Then why are you still coughing? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the Chief Coroner himself. No. Oh. He died. So if it's no poison in the water, then it must be on the bottle. I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But, of course, the pleasure was all ours. I was so sure. No? This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. A little too easy. Thank you, Counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, the shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience that this has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point? Kazuma. Uh-oh. Well, seems like we're getting the death penalty. I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
Please wait. Isn't that... What is the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. I'll call you Susan. Fuck you. Judicial assistant to the defense. Mikotaba. In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. Oh. Part 2 seems to be done. Save your current progress. Yes, sir. Let us continue for now. Dominic, the Fortnite isn't done yet, right? Should be able to keep going for now. 22nd of November. Supreme Court of Judicature. If Dominic is still watching. He should be looking. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense. But why this sudden ingress into my courtroom? Judicial assistant, and a woman no less. The rule states that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify. Yes, I fully understand. I ask for only 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense. It's a late little girl. This trial has already been concluded. 5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more. But Your Excellency. Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please, simply accept this for now. A report about something, written in English. It's Giselle Brett's research. The English woman's... After the trial resumed earlier, I heard back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical thing and borrowed this paper. Oh yeah, she's studying medicine. Does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with this case? I'm afraid I don't know. I don't speak English. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Special characteristics of cura and its effects on human subjects. Time's up. The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom. Yeah, fuck off, women. There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on the note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it. Goodbye then, and good luck. Oh. She vanished, much like a bolt of lightning. You have had long enough, counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. As the prosecution and defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but... The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency. Ryu, we're out of options here. This really is our last chance. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett. Yes, Your Excellency? If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer? It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid... It's not so very long until tea time. I'll have to politely decline. Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems that I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order. I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense. My apologies, dear lady. So, Council. What is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? Let's take a look at... Synopsis. A poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America. The hunters of the region have used it since some ancient time to incapacitate the prey. Instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death, even in minute doses. The above mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as inflicted by a blowpipe dart. So, kind of specific. First day back and no shortage of live streaming. Let's go. Yes, because there's no stream on a Wednesday. Hey, Tony. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that toxin could have applications as an anesthetic. However, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body paralysis must be found first, or patients will die of suffocation. Solution for the respiratory arrest caused... Okay. I will be attending a debate for the European Parliament election on a Wednesday evening together with Esther, so...
Yes.
Miss Brett, we understand you were studying under Dr. Wilson at UMA University doing research. Research by sheer coincidence, perhaps, into a deadly poison. What? Poison. And you don't want to live stream that, give us the feedback, your views and perspective? No. No. The thing for me is, I would like to keep my political career or my political statements and my gaming statements out of one another, you know, because I don't want to give anybody a certain perspective of mine in regarding to certain social issues. Let's just say that. I try to stick to the games mostly, and sometimes I do rant about a political thing, but I think that's what nobody's watching anyway. Where are you going with this, Council? A toxin known as Cura. Cura. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death. What complete and utter nonsense. Cura, you say? I've never even heard of it. You wouldn't have done. What do you mean? I mean that you wouldn't have heard of Cura before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist. South America. Correct. Which means no matter what test the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify Cura. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. What? Council, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to the report offered by the visiting research student from England, Cura has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists. To lace their arrows? The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with Cura suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brad? Trumpery. These aspersions are utter trumpery. To start with, if the victim had been administered some of the so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain, and the other diners would have surely noticed. That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around. What do you mean the other way around? Yeah, first you die, and when you are brought back to life, then you should have trouble with it, right? The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that Cura was used. Explain yourself, Counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible. Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed. But I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move. That's hideous. To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly Cura poison. And you're suggesting that this bottle, Counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison? This is all very convenient, isn't it? Hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means of testing. What a happy tale for the defense. If I may, all these facts, you think you're so clever, but you must be taught some minute. Oh, shut up, okay. So. It is you who must be taught. So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal another's honest hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act. Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual. Whatever do you mean? Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime? The reality is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree? Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules. What's so funny? Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency. Yes? May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? Well, yes, I don't see, why not? Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys. This... Honestly, I know this game is made in Japan, but this shit reads like racial slurs or something. This shit reads like slurs to some native people, you insignificant little island boys. Sorry? To an English woman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish courtroom antics, it's laughable, really. She's gonna drink it to show that there's nothing. But the thing is, it's not in the bottle, it's on the bottle. But I'm getting bored of all this now. It's time for the game to end. Cheers! Wait, what are you doing? I don't think that's how you're supposed to behave in any way. No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. Goodness. Whatever is the matter, you all look quite stunned. So, no cure. The bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying? You look quite incredulous, little boy, but of course. That's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Red. I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of this friendship between our countries. Ah, yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistances you have given. This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how did she? How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it. Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. There has to have been poison in that bottle. No. No. But it can have been, because otherwise she would have killed over that. Yes, it's on the bottle. Because the waiter... We have on the bottle of water. It does contain poison. The corporate did put Cura into... No, not in. You're serious? Fool, are you blind? There's no possible way that bottle can contain poison. I mean, we just saw Miss Brett drinking the water from it. That's right, which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained. How exactly? I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here. One by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court. Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume this supposedly unscathed? Because, if you take a look here, a poison made from the bark, blah blah blah. Instant paralysis of the entire body, the above mentioned, when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as inflicted by a blowpipe dart. So, when you drink it, nothing happens. When you drink the poison, nothing happens. It has to enter the body through a wound, so vascular probably. I'm going to present this. The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brad's own research report. That's not a valid explanation. No? After all, we don't speak English. The report is utter gibberish. The impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading the Suzette Sands notes. I concur. The report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, Counsel. Which section of the report reveals special characteristics? We've been harting a lot about this Cura poison. And it left me curious about something. Oh? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to lace the heads of the arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat. Get to the point, please. But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean that there would be traces of poison left in the prey hunters? So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, Counsel, no, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense. Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When Cura enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, When it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poison effects whatsoever. What? Miss Brett, you thought this research. You knew Corral's special characteristics, and you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. You meddling little rapscallion. Well, Ryu, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really, I thought it was on the bottle, but I mean, if it needs to be injected through a wound and not via the mouth, okay. But the thing is, it comes inside of the body either way, so all this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure, but I fail to see how it's possible. Oh, okay. You piss off the swan. Don't piss off the swan. So the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts you read in a book, but I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly. What are you trying to say? Your schoolboy's logic has a fatal flaw. Schoolboy? Flaw? As even your brain has managed to deduce, Cura is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric suckers. Oh yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers? What are they? What are those? So if this little poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? That's right. Good gracious. That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no? The logic holds, if the lady and professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest Cura poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial? That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that. Aren't you getting thirsty for... I have a bottle right here. What the fuck are you even listening to? Oh, you're listening to me, never mind. Okay. What is this welling up inside me? Am I getting a boner? I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Objection.
I don't think so, Miss Brett. How dare you use that tone with me? You know very well that there's no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both of you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence, as we now know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the Cura? Cura. Okay, now I have to think. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the Cura? Because of... I'm checking really quick. You both mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body. Okay. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it is believed that the toxin could have application as an anesthetic. However, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a full body problem must be found first for patients without suffocation. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the Cura? Can I examine this? Because of his wound. I think it's because of the wound. Because it's supposed to be injected via a wound. Well, the thing is, he got his hand burned, so it must be injected via this.
Take that!
Take that. No? I'm sorry, counsel, but the slippish manner in which you've tossed that evidence before the court does not inspire confidence. Listen, Ryu. There's no need to overthink this. We know that the cure's toxic effects come into play when poison enters the body via a wound. And when Dr. Wilson drank his glass of water, he must have had a wound somewhere that let the poison in. So we need some evidence that would prove the poison had a wound inside his mouth. Of course, his dental. He drank it because of his... Duh. He got a filling. For dental work. I'm gonna autoplay this. With the use of anesthesia. Probably used laughing gas so he couldn't feel anything. Anesthesia! I've heard people talking about this new idea of anesthetic. Possible to imagine not being able to feel pain though. Gefeliciteerd met je affiliatiejubileum! Nana! Nana! Yeah, I can't believe it's been so long already. Hello, Naomi. No food or drink. It's because of this. Okay, so real quick, this is a recap. Miss Brett, the woman in question, the English woman in question, basically, well, if that's the case, didn't die because she didn't have a wound in her mouth. You missed it? Yeah, you missed more. Well, we don't exactly know if she did it.
Take that!
As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. A fatal difference. The toxic effects of cure are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poison water? Inside? Yes. Like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate this. Huh. Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are also puerile. Don't worry, little schoolboy. Give me a moment. You'll find out soon enough. You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No. I mean, it could just slip. Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed. This should decide her fate. She just smashed that bottle. Yes. What a terrible blunder. This is no blunder. What is this bullshit? You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you, it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it. How could you? You won't get away with this. Give me a moment. You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, but I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there was really poison in it. If she did this on purpose, she should be she should be trialed herself. This is just mishandling of evidence. We saw her do it by, well, on purpose. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course, of course. You're referring to this print, are you? That's right, I'm really looking at this photograph. It's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So of course, the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection.
No, you killed the victim that day, using curare. And then, in order to frame Ryu for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor. Before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see, you had every opportunity to commit this crime. What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly, and as you have nothing to support your wealth claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Move your arm up. Delivered in cold blood by the accused Ryu. So she just fucked up evidence and now all we're getting is this bullshit? Nah. Is she really going to get away with it? The way she destroyed the evidence was obscene. Ryu. Hmm? We've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you can really depend upon. Well, yeah, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. So think back again now. Try to remember every last... Okay. Okay. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. Time for a recap. Give it a moment. What I saw, what I felt. Just take every color. The fuck on the table? You better not fuck on the table, you son of a bitch. Okay. Somewhere in the vibrant memory of this same scene in my head. Could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? What if he actually just did it himself? I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. You always have something... I don't know, we haven't done that yet. Because this is just... This is new, basically. Alright, I can't wait. Yeah. It's been niggling me for a while that something fit wrong. Whatever it is could be the key truth about all this. It's here somewhere. The clue that somehow shows... Yeah, okay. So. Small recap. We got the bottle. The actual carbonated water bottle that you see on top of here. Over here. We got that from the waiter. Because he apparently is a crime scene persevator. So the thing he wants to do is... What do you mean further back? If you want to... there was the choice and basically... what was the... I forgot what the choice was. I know where we ended last time. What do you think I know? I'm just as clueless as you are. You only ordered water, yeah. Yeah, so there was a choice. We already knew what the choice was. So we thought it was... Jesus. We thought the choice was... I need to retrace my steps here. Bishop speaking Japanese. Yes. She was talking through the policeman at first as an interpreter. So what happened afterwards was eventually she did start to speak English, but she thinks of the Japanese as a inferior culture. An inferior nature, because she's using racial slurs like little island boys for Japanese people. I completely forgot what the choice was. Hold on, let me see if I can find it on Twitch really quick. From this game. Should be this one. Isn't it? Oh, I think I did it over here. Never mind. Oh yeah, right. The burn on his wrist. Okay. And you found out the professor was already dead before he got shot. Yeah, okay. So he had a burn on his wrist. And he was already deceased by then. And then we figured it was some type of poison. And that poison had to be administered somehow. So, what happened then was we had to figure out a way for the poison to be ingested or something. And the poison turned out to be in the bottle. But only if you have a wound somewhere and it throws itself on there. So it's called cure. The poison is called cure. And if the poison is administered to a wound somewhere, then the person in question would be paralyzed. We think that the gunshot is post-mortem. So she already, or Dr. Wilson already died before, because of the poison. And then she shot him to cover it all up. Is it on the fog? Yeah, and I think that's it. So we got a bottle. Apparently So you didn't do anything with the blood here yet? No. There seems to be nothing I can do either.
Take that!
Inspector Osanaga, answer me this. I couldn't click on it, that's the point. Yes, what is it? He's still miles away, probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took from the victim's table that day? Wait a minute, where are you going with this? Shut up. Where are you going with this, little boy? It's just a memory that's been troubling me. What memory? I saw the scene shown in this photograph printed with my own eyes that day. And I saw that on the wooden base of the plate the steak was served on was a spattering of blood. What? Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. Oh, that's his blood, probably. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson from the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Oh. Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter. Which means that the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor as you were. Just Hilbert. I beg your pardon. This is beyond ridiculous, fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing? This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to. Inspector, you mean... Yes, I took the plate. In the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. Yeah, probably because he did something with poison as well. I took it, and I don't care. You did what? Okay, so he took it all. Okay, got it. I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all in the name of justice. Now we can't find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it now. Inspector, the court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir. Sorry for the delay. Here's what you ordered. The steak. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it? Of course there isn't. Quickly, Inspector, the blood, man. Show the court. Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure. No. No blood. No blood anywhere. But no, that's... impossible. I know I saw it, I'm sure of it. It was right on the line, but there was blood on the side of the plate. No, that's not the plate. That's the wooden carving it was standing on. What an unbecoming expression, little boy. Can we fucking stop that swan for a second? You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. I couldn't agree more in the case of this disgrace to the Empire. I believe we may have finally reached a conclusion in this trial. You've been saying that for 20 seconds now. Let's hope so. Let's pretend attempt at a courtroom proceedings is painful to watch, but I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. This sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest. I'm getting hungry for steak now. This is it now, I've lost. Ryu, it's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. My English is not as good as I hoped it would be. Jesus fucking Christ. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward no matter what. If I turn around, then my backwards is now forwards. Believe in myself, really? Let's take a look at the fucking steak. Yes. As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial would be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection? That bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate reveal any other clues? That's not a clue. Always look for clues. Your Excellency, please wait. This plate of beef is hiding another clue. Look underneath the plate. Another clue will reveal the shocking truth. The only thing that's shocking is your unhealthy fascination with beef steak. Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye anymore unnecessary procrastination in this trial. I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled. I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it? Rotate. Rotate. Huh? What in the world is this? I think it's a Koban coin, and the hallmark is from the Hoei era. No, I don't mean, what is it? I mean, what is it doing there? Wait, did you say it was a Hoey Koban? Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. Oh, the antique dealer. I've heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bullion in bouillon. And I don't think you ever will again. This is extraordinary, though. Extraordinary. This means... I certainly never expect to find a precious coin underneath this thick cut of meat. And it's from the Hoey, that would make it really quite valuable. It's well marinated in juice as well. Look. What? Are you thinking of eating it? No. But the next time I order a steak in the next one thing's for sure. My heart's going to be racing as I lift up the meat and penny for price. I think you might have the wrong evidence to stick at this. Well, let's present this. Got it. He's got it. Good gracious, that's... Koban? What on earth? A Hoer one at that. Miss Brett. This is in fact the beefsteak that you ordered at the restaurant on the day in question, is it? Tell me. Why is an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat? Stop pissing off the swan, for God's sake. What a ridiculous question. How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what it is, but I want no part of it. I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? That could have simply been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction. Don't be absurd. That's a live swan, yes. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen. A rare Koban coin just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency. Yes, Counsel? A rare Hoey coin just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now. By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway. Oh, now shit is... Whoa. Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that this is you who is irrelevant. Even though I'm the one on trial here. Yeah. The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it is doing underneath that steak. The owner? Yes. It's obvious there's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban coin that was found underneath the beefsteak is it's the antique dealer. Kyorio Korekuta. Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and owner of Rasute Kyorio Korekuta. Kyori? As in Mr. Cucumber something? Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened, and exactly the moment the gun was fired. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Indeed, the Hoey era Koban, my prize coin. Then this coin, do you mean to tell me... No. Please, why would his coin be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense. Which is why I'm asking to bring Korekuta-san back to the witness stand so we can ask him. Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay. I can't believe we've come back to around that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch. That if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find that key element in the case. I think she's trying to steal the coin, personally. She didn't kill him. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. There's 4 people on the trial now. What's this all about? Why have I been caught up again? Don't you realize that it's dinner time for my little baby Ido? When my son's belly is empty, he's fiercer than a pack of wolves. Exploited by the police, we were. Like miserable dogs. Forced to bear false witness. And when cast from this courtroom myself, I became a ruined man in a tribe. A worthless, withered antique. Nothing more, I have to say. The sun has set on this recipe shop's own existence. Be it as it may, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your memory serves, have you ever seen this Copen? Did he catch it with his foot? Okay, he caught the knife with his foot. Okay, that's... Yes, that's it. The one, the very exact one that is. A resplendent and splendiferous away treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day. It can't be. As I thought. Young man. Enlighten this decrepit old fool. Put me out of my misery. Where? Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped? Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between the beefsteak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices. Sandwiched? Soaking? Seriously? Clearly, it could have fallen there by accident, which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose. Somebody concealed my Hoey treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate? Who would do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing? Excuse me. Could I say something? Yeah, of course. Proceed, Inspector Osunaga. I mentioned this earlier on the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case. Ah yes, that's right, the secret undercover operation. La Carnival's a high-class restaurant, a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there has been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. I like how the sergeant is just pointing towards the antique dealer. Why so Snyder hiding all the evidence, by the way, and not just coming up with a place and such, if he's a policeman? Well, the thing is, he wants to do it thoroughly himself. So what he does is he puts them all at home and he inspects them there. But the thing is, the poison was from South America, so he wasn't able to detect it himself in the first place. And he did test it all out for everything, so... We want to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected. So that's why he was sent in on the cover, is it? Yes. I took on a job of a waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely that this Coben incident is the work of the same thief. So, unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work in a restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hit Gorkuda-san's Koban is all too clear. What? What? I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, what's this despicable scar? She's 16. Oh my. Okay, so who is it? It's this guy's dead, first of all. This guy is... No, it could be him, but he has nothing to do with it right now. He's out of the picture. It's not him. Definitely not him. It could be him, because of the fact that he has access to all the plates. It could be him. Where's this little girl? She came in with a piece of evidence. Basically the report for the poison, the Cura poison, which this woman, Giselle Brad, was using for the poison. She was studying this poison, and that poison was also used. So the thing is, this guy has access to that. So my gamble is still that this guy comes in the picture eventually, and that he actually killed the officer. But I think it could either be for who stole that coin. It could be him that he placed it underneath there. It could be him in a sense, but I think it's her. She's complaining about difficult Japanese, so what kind of English language is it? I don't know. Yeah, she seems like me. No command Ryu. Huh? You shocked me, Kazuma. Not as much as you shocked me. No one could have approached the table unnoticed. Even if you are crazy fool, you couldn't have missed that. I'm not sure you could be calling Korokuta a crazy fool, Kazuma. It's you I was calling the crazy fool. Ah, maybe I'm on the wrong track here. Let me hear your opinion on this medal again. So... him. Let's see. Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Iesanosa. What? How? How dare you? You monster. Monster. I stole that Koban, did I? I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet. But it wasn't me, it was Ido. Ido's the mastermind behind all this. The baby, yeah. He was looking on the floor, so... You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son, innocent little baby. It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa. I think it's a tag team effort. You. I don't know if he's okay. Preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court, son. Do any of you know of the extraordinarily low wages the army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place, and I have heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant? Well, at least we fixed another crime. The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days, I'd go there and reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak at the same time. It sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork even, which is worryingly believable. And your target that day was the old man in his Koban? Yes. So. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all. A veritable phantom thief you are. I was all set to leave the steak. I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Bang. Yes, when a professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. I know too, so I had the incriminating evidence as fast as I could. On the double. I slipped it under the steak. Hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date. But he couldn't because the waiter picked it up. This is ridiculous. Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time? Well, Miss Brett. Oh, for fuck's sake. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May the esteemed gentleman please be excused, Your Excellency? Indeed. The theft of the Koban was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder. Yeah, so then they are excused, right? Hiding a coin on a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it? Well... So as for picking up your steak and biting into it without a knife and fork, It's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave. Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. And good day, little laddie. Rio, what's the matter for you? There's no time for daydreaming. Oh? No, it's just... something about Miss Brett's parting words that got me thinking. I can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere, something didn't quite add up. If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking, make your voice heard.
Hold it!
Wait, Miss Brett. What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time. There's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a moment ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction? What new stupid nonsense is this? Well, what parting words are you talking about? You. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up the steak and biting it into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense, it's pure madness. Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. What is he talking about? Okay, so hiding a coin under a lump of meat, the sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Well, how? The thing is, so, okay. The contradiction. He, the colonel, the sergeant took it. But how did it end up in between the plate? Because I think we're talking about it being her plate. Right, if we go to examine. How did it end up on her plate? Is my question.
Take that!
The steak that Miss Red had been eating before the professor was killed? Yes. Go on. More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. No, you're just splitting hairs. So the thing is, the sergeant took the coin, but how did it end up on the plate? If he took the coin, put it in his pocket, how did it end up all the way over there? Not true. Doesn't something about the steak strike you as very unnatural? What on earth do you mean? It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge. Okay, so my brain can't really comprehend this. So the sergeant picked up the coin. He sat on a different table. You're telling me that the sergeant took the time to grab the coin, put it in his pocket, and somehow managed to slip it underneath a steak on a different table. And he's talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. Yes, those are biting marks. Sure, I know. But that's not really the thing I'm worried about. How did the coin end up on another table if he picked it up himself? I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett. Notice what exactly? They're bite marks. Take a good look at the steak, in particular the edge where it's been eaten. As you can see, These are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there. Looks like Miss Brad has realized something. So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all. But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brad was ravenously hungry and couldn't help him. Oh, you need to shut up. Whatever you say. I really must be leaving now. Oh, you still have to explain yourself for this one. I've heard enough. You irritating little spectacled samurai relic. What the fuck? Like I said, slurs. What's the matter, Miss Brad? Have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implications these teeth marks in the steak are for her. Do you know where you're going with this? No, I don't. The mysterious teeth marks in a steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain, I know, somehow seems to have disappeared. It's the wrong steak! Oh, that could actually answer the discrepancy. The evidence that proves once and for all who shot that too. It wasn't his steak to begin with. Unnatural, as you put it, counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us? Everything, Your Excellency. Everything? Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson. How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't even know the meaning of the phrase typical Japanese empty threats. How can you be so sure? Oh, it's quite simple. If I really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court a long time ago. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet. Hasn't been? What? But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist. This is absurd. The trial has run several hours already, and you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? That can't be. I don't believe you have it. I don't, but there's someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. It's the waiter.
Take that!
The answer is so obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga. What? I have it? Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous. Everyone's attention has been focused on the steak with teeth marks. Yes. Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nelson told the court the following. I'd enjoyed chomping my way through a good steak. Yeah, exactly. So this is his steak. It's a mistake. If they are gonna put the mistake pun in here. He told us that he slipped it on the steak. Okay. You watch it, cadet. I'm a superior officer. Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put the coin under in fact your own steak? Affirmative. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she'd mind me manhandling her meal to hide something as manhandling her meal. In other words, the steak that in fact submitted as evidence earlier is the wrong one.
Attention!
But that makes no sense. That plate was taken from the victim's table. Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin. Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire. Well then, how do you explain this paradox? Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest the sergeant switch the two stacks over. You did switch the plates? Well, after that happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my stake and hit the coin underneath it. But then, when a waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I had had it. If he decided to investigate my slap of me, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So when a cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. With military precision and timing, I switched my stake with the one of the foreign ladies' table. You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing. It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done. However, fear not, prosecutor-san. What now? I swear on the brass buttons on my uniforms, that's all I did, sir. All you did, that's plenty, Sergeant.
Yes.
So if Sergeant knows to switch the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak, and the plate was on back to his own table. Yes, that follows. Inspector Osunaga. Early in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. That's to preserve evidence you had taken both. That's correct. Seth Camel. Oh, I got a follower 6 minutes ago. Seth Camel, thank you for the follow. I didn't even see the notification. There is no notification. Why is he bleeding from the mouth all the time? I think because it's some sort of poison. He got... he has his own... So, like I said, the poison was administered to the wound. But I don't know. We'll see in a bit. I think he's been poisoned himself as well. The plate was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot. Yeah, we got it. What can you possibly tell us now? I mean, the cold slab of tough meat, I can't have the slightest bearing on the case. Oh, here we go. No, you're wriggling your way out of this. No, you're not. I beg your pardon. Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why the steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you, no? You're the ones who decided it was a problem, not me. The reason the defense asked to see that plate was to confirm something the defender remembered seeing. The blood. Thinks he remembers. Well, if we actually have the plate, I'm quite sure of what I saw. But then get us the plate, damn it. On the side of the plate it was... Why does the name Seth Campbell actually ring a bell to me? Don't know. There was a clear spattering of blood from the gunshot. The defense memory serves him well. Just get the plate in here already, and we have the evidence to prove it. Let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, you will show the evidence to the court. Sorry for keeping you. Oh, look, blood. Here's the other steak in its plate. Please feel free to examine it. Oh wow, would you take a look at that? It's cut clean. The blood stain. It's clearly visible. Look!
Yes.
Yes. Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for to have shot the victim. It can be. In fact, there's only one person who could possibly have shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. That's right. Miss Brett. It's you. Outdone. By a Japanese? Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No. 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 Why is there a chick in her head? What the fuck? There's multiple. Hey, a black chicken. What? 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 Now I think I need to I don't even know. Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me. Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth this time. Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the professor's life using Korari. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning. So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water, because cura is unheard of in Japan. Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water and it would be all over. I would place a steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he had been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose? Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over to greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point, so I concocted a plan of spur of the moment. On the spur of the moment, okay. I planned to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man. I happened to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of cura in my handbag. And my own pistol concealed under my skirt. Under your skirt? So I was right. There were two guns. This is what I've been telling from the get-go. Yes. And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. A place where you were sure that I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I'd intended. What if she's taking the fall for her master? And then, just as you bent down and picked it up, bang. Bang, bada boom. That's when you shot the professor with your own gun. Even though at that point he was already dead. Naturally. The gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared. Obviously assumed Otterson was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside. That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor and his chair around. Because of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant that shot Dr. Wilson from where he picked up the gun. So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Your Excellency. Yeah? I wonder. Might I speak with you in private later? I shall call on you. I hope you can forgive me. Okay, so she's getting away with it? Just like that? Murder? No? No apprehension? This trial has finally run its course. You spin it to finish. Yeah, kinda. I presume the prosecution is in agreement? This can't be. I do not lose. Not to the likes of this rookie student. You'd better start getting used to tough opposition. This insult to the Archie family name will never be forgotten. You've become conceited with age, Council, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. Don't. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. What? A thousand millennia might pass, and still, the Archie clan will never measure up to the Naruto clan. Okay. This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, you presented an excellent case. I thank you, Your Excellency. The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern methodology. Methodology, something like that. After all, there only has been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world, but the Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that there will soon bring new. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future of law awaits, but what it looks like, I cannot begin to imagine. It is for the young to pursue. Kazuma. Hmm? After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can, absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Oh, he's not planning on going. Oh, never mind. As for you, Ryu, in you, I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing you how carrying that onwards. Yep. Don't pick up guns. It is not to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant Ryu not guilty. Cherry blossoms popping out of nowhere. This court is now adjourned. I can't believe it. I can't believe what's happened. I made it. I defended myself and made it through that horrendous trial. You finally pulled it off. Congratulations. Well, I couldn't have done it without you, stepdad. Oh, it was a pleasure to watch you at work. So you owe me an extra large sucky Mickey from the place, blah blah blah. Good afternoon. All your hard work was certainly paid off. Oh, congratulations to both of you for proving Ryu's innocence. Ah, I trust the judicial system. You worked hard for that result, you know? Oh no, I didn't do anything. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. If we hadn't had the research report of Miss Bretts, I don't know how things would have turned out. Well, probably guilty. The kind of which should really be for my father. I was simply doing what he asked. It was his idea for me to go to the university and investigate. Something tells me that this will be the final... because she's just gone now. I think that her father is the actual one that killed this professor. And I think the final trial will be about getting him to trial or something. About getting him guilty. Because I think that Giselle is just taking the fall for him right now. You guys can read this. At least I hope you can. Speaking of Mikotaba. You did an excellent job. After all, blah, blah, blah. Exposed the true criminal that took the life of my group. I don't fucking trust you. That's right. I put him on the university, blah, blah, blah. Presumably that's when you met Dr. Wilson? Exactly. Well, it was a long time ago now. Besides, it's your turn, Asogi. The UK is a magnificent country. It leads the world in science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course, in law. Does it? Watch I learn, my boy. I'll learn all that I can. You're not taking that sword to Great Britain, are you? Of course I am. A Japanese man's katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. And cuts on anything that's in my way. I've definitely seen how sharp it is already with my own eyes. That reminds me, what's happened to the woman? To Brett, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder. Ah yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but she vanished. Surely she's going to fetch her herself now. She's the true culprit after all. She will be leaving Japan in the very near future. For Shanghai. She will not appear in court again in this country, I'm certain of that. But why not? It's a matter of consular jurisdiction. Inspector Osanaga. It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today, very impressive to watch. I must congratulate. But what's this all about? The consular jurisdiction. We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. What? We can't try her? But then who's going to bring her to justice? A British consular court will hear a case somewhere far away while voice can be heard. But why a consular court? Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now that we've signed the friendship treaty. Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right. Then, so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature to our respective governments, they can't invoke a consular court just like that. Oh, can't they? I'm afraid that for the young student, Today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There was never any danger of comeuppance for her. I don't believe it. All that shit I've done for shit. The British government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has the ban, blah blah blah. They're obviously taking this case of us committing murder very seriously. Well done. But it's all going to change from now on. We can make a change. This is a time of great turmoil, this new era heralded by the start of the 20th century. One day, I have no doubt, that woman will receive the judgment she deserves. Yes, change is coming, and we're the ones driving it. Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. Let's fuck. This evening calls for a celebratory drink. Professor. You're right. This is no time for gloomy faces. We should be celebrating Ryu's not guilty verdict. Oh, for God's sake, man. In that case, might I suggest La Carnival? As the head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink. Don't. Aren't you? You're a detective, aren't you? Somebody's poisoning him. Probably. So Giselle Brother won't be tried, eh? I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. Kazuma. I just want to say thanks again, that's all. You were the lawyer there, weren't you? The defense was all your own work. Your skills made the difference, though. One day, I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world. I'm not just sure about that. To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during the trial. I couldn't help thinking that maybe you're the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me. Come on, be serious. If I helped you today, it was only right at the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it, for being a defense lawyer, I mean. Oh no, not me. All that tense verbal combat, I never want to go through that ever again. I did what you told me to do, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you. That's the point. What? What do you mean? Listen, Ryu. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win? The law. Oh. The ability to believe. Oh. Okay. I thought it went from... Okay. A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe in them at all times. Like you believed in me when I said I didn't do it. I'm human, just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what to believe in. And stick to it. What? Are we having some random Sunday quotes now or some on Monday? Sometimes in the courtroom you can really be backed into a corner, but being able to remain faithful to what you choose to believe in, even then, well, that's not something that anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person, a special kind of fuck you. Believing in your clients. Just look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with precious little real experience, but you never stop believing in me. Well, You face seemingly hopeless situations time and time again, but you never stopped looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it. Through your own efforts and because you never stopped believing in me. Thanks, Kazuma. There's something I want to ask you, actually, Ryu. It's a favor, really. Can you fuck me when I'm gone? It's not serious ones. You're still here, are you? Inspector, I've arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go. I love you. Again later, we should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory and your study to Great Britain, don't forget. Ah yes, that too. Did we finish this trial now then? So my very first trial came to an end. Kazuma, Professor Mikotaba, Susato-san worked as my assistant. Inspector Hosonaga, who didn't really play much of a part, but still. It was because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through that trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life. Coming to Great Britain with him. And how much is it going to change his life, people? How much is it? You tell me. I'm getting an award. Save your current progress. Yes, please. Why he bleeding? Yes, that is indeed the case. And for that, you must be here for episode 2. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band. And let me check really quick. So we're at Great Departure. The Adventure of the Cloud Coco. The Adventure of the Runaway Room. I see. Okay, so next episode, we are going to be doing the Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band, which seems to be on a boat, which means that we're probably going to Great Britain with him. But in order for that to be streamed, it must be next time, because right now we are out of time. I hope you all enjoyed this one. Follow if you haven't yet. Thank you, Seth Camel, again for the follow. Completely went past by me for some reason. And I hope I will see you all again upcoming Sunday with Cobblemon, of course. For now, though, have a good one, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.